Hi, this is Gracie with Gracie Investigates. Thank you for joining me. So, I'm going to just talk for a minute. And I'm going to go to the first story I want to cover. So, I'm going to talk about the office space in the greater Cincinnati area. So, I wanted to rent an office back in March of this year. Excuse me, I've got like a frog in my throat, so it might sound a little funny. But I wanted to rent an office, and this office was, they said 90 square feet. 90 square feet, guys. And $519 a month. Like I said, this is greater Cincinnati area, meaning like not downtown. And I was like, no, thank you. That's like, it's kind of like renting a closet. So I checked another place, and it was almost as bad. It was like $400 and some a month. And when you're trying to start a new business, that's a lot of cash to come up with every month, and you don't have the business to support it. So these people reached back out to me. Both different companies reached back out to me like 6 weeks, 2 months later, and they were like, hey, we've got new prices. So the first one that reached out to me, they were now renting that for, they wanted like $360 a month, and I talked it down to $300 a month for a 90 square foot. It was a decent building, nice, safe area, and month lease. Well, I went in there and had nothing but trouble. Nothing but trouble. It was nothing but lies. The person who rented me the space, first of all, we had an appointment, and that person's texting me like, hey, can you hurry up and get here? I need somewhere else, got somewhere else I need to go. And I was like, sure, I'll get there as soon as I can. So we moved the appointment up, which I thought was kind of unprofessional, but so then I was told it was 90 square foot, and that I could control the heating and air conditioning in the office, and that there was an intercom system that the receptionist could let me know when someone had arrived. So I took this person at face value. I didn't go back. I looked at the office, just looked at, like, opened the door, and we looked, and had a window that opened, closed, and stuff, so that was nice. But I didn't measure it. I didn't have a tape measure. This was my first time renting a business space. So the person was in a hurry, so I logged onto the company website, and I said, okay, I'll take it. We negotiated a price. So then I bring, because it seemed awfully small to me, and I was like, is this really 90 square feet? And I walked it off, after I signed the lease, I just walked with my feet, and I'm like, I don't think this is 9 by 10. So brought tape measure in, and a friend and I measured it. Who's a math person? Because I'm not a math person. And lo and behold, it was like 76.5 square feet, 77 square feet, somewhere around there. And I was just like, okay, this thing is seriously like a closet. It's like a big closet. And I was like, do I take the office or do I not? And I thought, well, it is in a nice location. They do have a receptionist. There's a few good things about it. They told me I would have control over the air conditioning and stuff. And why I didn't check that beforehand, I don't know. So, and they gave me a key card the day before I was to move in, because it was got to be on the weekend. It was June 1st. And so they gave me a key card on Friday and promised me that would get me in the building. It didn't. So I had the movers there, and it was a big fiasco. I had to get like a regional manager to get somebody to come and let me in, but by that time someone else in the building had came, and they opened the door and they used a key. Well, I wasn't given a key. So I was able to get in, and the office person eventually showed up, and so I was upset about that, but I got a key made. And so that was an annoyance, but I thought, fine, I was about ready to walk then, people around me had to like talk me down, like, don't don't give up on this. It's a pretty good office. And so Thursday I go in after we had set it all up over the weekend, and I had been there like one other time, just in and out. And then Thursday I went in there to like finish up stuff, and I wanted to read and sit and read. And I noticed how hot it was. And I went up and told the receptionist, who's I guess the representative, I said, "Hey, this is very, very hot in this office. I need some AC because I have to have the door shut." And the AC was only in the hallway. She's like, "Oh, I never noticed that before." I said, "Well, don't they have like heating and cooling ducts running in there?" And she's like, "I don't know." She's like, "I don't know why they don't have that there's not no heating and air." She didn't know anything. So one of my friends was like, "Well, maybe they converted a big office space into these small, little, tiny offices and just didn't run ducts in there." So I don't know. I don't know the story. I don't know what they did. So I came back with a friend on Friday, and I bought a room temperature, indoor room temperature, and it was 80 degrees in there on Friday. And so I videoed it all and let them know I wanted a refund and that I was canceling my lease. Because it had literally been 6 days since I had moved in. And so cleaned everything out that we could, just got the rest of the big furniture on Saturday. Well, the corporate person, the regional person, I guess I should say, was telling me that I would have to pay through July 31st. And I said, no, not for an unusable office. You keep in mind, I signed this lease like 6 weeks ahead of time. They held it for me. That's how desperate they were. And then when I went to try to cancel it, they offered me a lease for $77 a month for 3 months. For this closet, basically. But it was a nice closet. It was newer and stuff. Well kept, that kind of thing. But, so the answer was no. I canceled. And so Saturday, when we had everything done, all the keys inside, the physical keys, and just took the key cards, because the person said, make sure you don't use the key to lock the door. Well, I couldn't use the key to lock the door because I was leaving the keys because I was no longer going to be a rental tenant. So, but she said, I promise it'll work. Just don't lock it with the key. Just use the key card. Fine. So the keys were all inside and locked it with the key card. I have this all on video. And lo and behold, it wouldn't open it. It did the exact same thing it did on Saturday. You have to have a key. And these people don't want to hand people these keys anymore. They want to go to these little key cards. These key cards don't open this door. That place is a nightmare. I would warn anyone off there. I'm not saying their name on purpose because this is still ongoing. This is not settled. So I went and looked at another place on Friday, and this person was so happy to, text me, and the office was 120 square feet, which was a nice size. But the condition of the office, it looked like it was built in the 1970s. This is still Greater Cincinnati, closer in like the Blue Ash area, Blue Ash of Ohio. And it was like 120 square feet. It had a window, a bigger window, and it also had one of those old-fashioned air conditioning and heating units in the wall, so you had your own, and everything was included in that price. It was like, I can't remember the exact dollar amount. It was around $265, maybe I think it was $275 a month. So it was even less. But I couldn't, you couldn't open the windows. It looked like it was built in the 1970s, and they hadn't updated. Had an old smoke smell. Nasty. Dark, dank, stank is what I said. Not to the person, but to the person with me after that person left. And I said, don't you have anything newer? when I went to back to the office, because they just left us alone in there to look around. And they're like, no, that's all we've got. And I was just like, no wonder these office places aren't renting. They need to be upgraded. They need to be updated. They're a mess. These office spaces are a mess. I'm not going to give the name of that company out either, just because. But I just wanted to start with that. So I want to talk about this. They're trying to debunk the thing that says that that conspiracy theory brewing over chicken farms fires is false. No, it's not. They tell you what they want you to know. They tell you what they want you to think. It's just like telling you who you want to vote for, this, that, or the other. It's like, don't look here. Don't look at the man behind the curtain. Look over here at the magic hands. And all these fires. 10,000 chickens at a farm in Connecticut. A fire in December killed 250,000 chickens in Pennsylvania. These have all been debunked, supposedly. Never in my history have I heard of so many chickens and other animals being killed. And by the way, this is very cruel. That's a very cruel thing, whoever's doing this. This is not a conspiracy. These people are liars. Don't believe them. They want you to eat Bill Gates' manufactured, grown in a lab meat. That goes back to my dream, to where that's going to be on the menu, on the buffet line, and if you don't want to eat that, tough. Don't have anything to eat. So that's just one thing to keep in mind. Now, is collecting rainwater illegal in Ohio? Truthfully, it's not illegal to collect rainwater anywhere in the U.S. However, Ohio is one of the 11 states that does regulate the collection of rainwater. In Ohio's case, the restrictions and regulations are in place to ensure the quality of water throughout the state, as clean resources can be limited. Aw, so they just looking out for your safety, right? Well, what's in the rainwater that would make it so dangerous if you placed a big tub out there and collected rainwater? What are they spraying in the skies that would make it so unsafe? And then you have to ask. So back when I was a kid, we didn't use bottled water. We just drank from the tap. Nobody had bottled water. That was not a thing until I don't know, late 1990s, 2000s. And then Nestle started buying up the bottled water industry, which they own most of the bottled water industry. Coca-Cola owns Dasani, which has a 12% global market. Danone owns Evian, 9% global market share. Nestle Waters owns Perrier and San Pellegrino, which have 3% and 2% global market shares, respectively. I like both of those, Perrier and San Pellegrino, but I tell you, I'm not buying them because I don't like Nestle. So I am personally boycotting Nestle because I don't like monopolies, and I certainly don't want someone that's going to try to take something away from someone that they need to live. But like I said, that's part of that dream that I had, that prophetic dream. The only water source that was there was in those 5 or 10 gallon big bottles that you have cups, disposable cups. And knowing those people, they were probably disposable paper cups. And maybe 8 or 12 ounces that you could drink there and maybe take one back with you. But that was it. You had nothing to put more water in. You had to go there to get your water. And I really should have went on in my dream a little bit more about that, but about what the ending of that was, but I didn't at that time, and I will get to that though. So, City Council aims to turn vacant downtown Cincinnati offices into residential units. There are so many units available. Those prices are dropping like rocks. For them to go from asking $519 a month, that may have been for a lease, but I don't think it was. I think it was $519 per month. But to go to offering me because I was going to cancel $77 a month for 3 months, I still said no. I didn't want that place for $5 a month for the headache. But they want to turn these offices into residential units. See, COVID was planned. It was planned. And they wanted to get people out of the offices. They had to find a way to like segregate people, keep them apart, make them afraid of one another, and it worked. They scared the life out of some people. They didn't scare the life out of me. I kept on with my life because I'm not afraid of anything or anybody. And they made, all these younger people, they have all these depression, anxiety. They had sequestered themselves in our house for a year and developed agoraphobia and everything else you could imagine. But to try to turn vacant downtown Cincinnati offices into residential units, look at these buildings. Look at these. Does that remind you of like China and how they were stacked? This reminds me of like metal crates stacked on top of one another, like chicken coops, you all. Now it's going to be very costly to convert office space, but say you wanted to convert this guy very big, so you could theoretically put a grocery store in it on one floor or two floors, and maybe a gym in one floor. So I envision this being like a 15-minute city, like this picture right here could be, with all these, with like little to no parking, because they don't want people to own parking spots and to own cars. They don't want that. They want to limit your freedom of movement. And then once they do the central digital currency system, if you've been bad, guess what? You not only can't leave, you're a little locked in place, but you can't buy food, you can't do anything. And if you're good, maybe you might get to travel so many miles outside of it every 2, 3, 4 years, whatever they deem. Because they don't want you flying to Hawaii or driving to Florida. They want to make it impossible for you to have these benefits. They want to keep you locked down and suppressed. They're just terrible. So many bad things are happening. They're destroying our way of life at every facet and every turn that they can. That's like the bolts are tightening. I liken it to coming up to a railroad intersection, which I hate trains, by the way, but I liken it to coming up, and the arms on each side are going down, down, down. They're probably 1/4 of the way down right now, and once they get all the way down, all of our rights will eventually be taken away. They're going to take people's land away. I'll get into all that. I'll get into how they're going to do it. But I just wanted to come on here and talk a little bit about that, because now they've poisoned our water. Most of the water has plastics in it. Oh, I had that one. Plastic, there it is. So microplastics can then enter the body through ingestion and inhalation. Depending on their size, can pass through the body's protective tissues. Well, if we... Okay, so this is so ridiculous. Why did they ever allow this to begin with? Why did they ever allow plastic to begin with if this is going to happen? We had thermos coolers and stuff. Why didn't they just encourage people to use that now? Now they're starting to encourage people to use that. Well, I'll tell you why. Because Nestle wouldn't make their billions, and the water companies wouldn't be able to say, oh, we own this water right. And it's all a part of taking everybody's land away from them. And not, they want people to register their chickens. My mom owns a farm, and they want people to register their chickens. Like, no. The answer to that is no. And they'll fly drones. The insurance companies are flying drones over houses. Oh, it's like, oh, if your roof looks like it needs repaired, oh, we can no longer insure that house. because they know there might be an expense, like if a tornado, wind, even not a tornado, but like heavy wind comes through, it more apt to be damaged if the roof is older. Now, her roof is not, and she's not been threatened. I think she has a lifetime from State Farm, a lifetime policy that from a long time ago that said that she cannot be canceled. So she's very, very blessed that way. So good for her. But I think that's it for right now. I'm sure I'll think of more as I think about it more. But you guys have a great night. Thanks for listening. If you like it, please give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel and share it if you want to. Share the video, share the information. I just want it to get out just so people are kind of aware of what's happening and going on. And remember, there are no coincidences. You guys all have a wonderful night. Thank you for being here. Bye.